Hello, everybody. Welcome, one and all, and welcome to the Ireland Esports Collegiate Series Powers My Donuts. And we are here with F1 Fridays, and we are back once again. So, I am back from the previous round in the commentary box. My name is Sapitrona, and joined is our incumbent first rounder, Marky Mark. How are we doing, my friend?
Oh, doing good today, man. Back from Germany. That's why, if anyone wants to know, that's where the Shiner came from. So, in case anyone's curious, Germany was great. But, back doing what I love doing. That's being on the cast for Irish Esports Collegiate Series for Formula One, of course. Finishing out a great week of esports we've already had so far. We've had, of course, Valorant, Rocket League, CS League, and now, of course, we're going to finish out the week with the best esport, Formula One.
Yeah. What can you say to that? So we had a little bit of a rejig of the calendar. So this, of course, is the old calendar, an old track list. But we ended up skipping out Spain entirely. So you may think, yes, it is week 3. Why are we not in Canada? We were Canada last week. So this week we'll naturally be taken to Silverstone. But we'll talk about that in a minute. What we should talk about first is our standings and the drivers who are currently sitting on top. What's your 2 cents? Because obviously you were in the first round, Mark. What do you make of it?
Yeah, like Liam's obviously pulling away quickly, got fastest lap both weeks, taking the thing both weeks. For the first week as well, at the end, he had a 7 second lead, so he decided to go outside the track limit on the final turn, just to troll everybody. Obviously, such a great racer, both in Formula One and of course iRacing as well. He's fantastic at both, so he is the man to catch. But if there's any place to catch him, Silverstone. Silverstone is such a fast track, but also so technical. So a good start for someone else, good qualifying, and a good start could give him a chance to put Liam under pressure and make him show actually how good a racer he really is.
Yeah, I'd say some real strong performance coming out. So we had, of course, Liam coming in, 52 points to his name, and Calibri in second. Ghost in third, Minikai fourth, Drip in P5, Freedom in P6, and Pav in P7. There's more standings to it a little bit further down, but all the eyes are at the top of things. And we've got quite a few drivers who didn't make it to last round. So, of course, we had Montreal, and we had quite a reduced turnout. So, we typically see this in a lot of leagues, and this is just universal across the board. We do see a little bit of drop off after the first round, but why do you think that might be?
I think it's a few reasons. College gets a bit busier, assignments start coming in, and also as well, people just maybe they don't feel as good after the first week playing. They just feel like they're not up to the standard, which I don't agree with. I think that it's great to play people like this that are such good racers and compete against them. That's the way to get better. It's like any sport or any sport. The only way you get better is by playing people that are better than you. And yeah, look, it sucks getting your ass beat, but it's the only way you learn, because if you see how they're taking the track, if you review the race after and see what they were doing, it's a really great way to improve your own racing and improve your own lines and like find out how to take turns properly. Obviously, we're changing tracks every week, which makes it more difficult, but that's kind of the joy, isn't it? It's to see how good these racers are on different kind of tracks. Because obviously Silverstone way different to Canada, which is hairpins and straights and a chicane. Silverstone's a technical race, but it's also very fast, more so for straight line speed rather than downforce. That's what you really want in Silverstone.
Yeah, and so that balance of downforce and everything else is what you're really looking for. So, of course, say Silverstone, 18 quarters, 3.6 miles, and a couple of DRS zones where you're really going to be making a heck of a difference. So, key areas of note. And being Silverstone, it is, of course, say 5.9 kilometers of racing history. I would say the places you really got to watch out for are, of course, Maggots and Beckett, goes without saying, but particular turn 15, so coming off the Hanger Straight, because everyone's going to get the DRS and everyone's going to be trying to push as quick as they can in order to try and get a move down. Where will you be keeping an eye on?
Well, you already mentioned Beckett's such an important corner. You have to take that absolutely perfectly. You have to be on the inside. You have to really hug the inside of it in order to keep yourself on the fastest line possible. You go outside it all, and you're going to be open up for that nice little straight coming into Stowe. It's going to put you in real trouble. So that's a really good corner. But also as well, it's just the first corner, Abbey. Abbey's such an important corner. You come in so fast down that straight line, that start finish line, and then you have to brake quite late to keep yourself going into a nice turn into it. So Abbey's an important one as well. And of course, it's the first turn, so it makes it even more interesting, especially at the start of the race.
Yeah, and the first turn of the first like 2 laps are so crucial as a driver, because you're not only trying to find your footing, try and find your balance among the rest of the field, but you're also trying to get away. You've got 3 laps, basically, well, 2.5 if anyone's counting, of non-DRS running. That is your chance to break that second barrier. The second barrier. Really stammering me words today, but the point stands true. These drivers have got to be on their absolute A game, and that DRS, I'm not sure how much you agree on this, but I think the DRS is absolutely ridiculous on this track.
Oh, it's insane, especially because there's not that many big straights on Silverstone, even though it is such a fast track. But if you get into that DRS range, you've got a huge chance coming into one of those nice turns, because there are really nice overtaking turns at the end of the DRS zone. So you've got a real chance of coming up the inside or the outside and taking a position. So those DRS, I think they're the most harshest DRS in probably the whole map, in the whole F1 circuit. They are insane. So if you were in the DRS zone, you've got a great chance of either setting up for the next zone or getting into the next corner and getting ahead.
Yeah, and that slingshot effect, especially coming through Stowe, because you've got that tight left-to-right chicane. If you can get that crucial few tenths in, and you can get that gap on your opponent, there's no recourse. They can't challenge you. And even then, that's where you start to see some people getting baited. Well, not baited, I think it's the wrong word, but having to make a tough strategic call, saying, right, if I'm behind this guy, I'm not going to get past anytime soon. Is it worth me pitting a couple laps early? As we get to the midpoint of the race, we're definitely going to see that. And I am curious for the pit strategy, because I'm noticing, just around the field, a few drivers pitting very early in the race. It seems to be a consistent theme.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that in the first race, obviously Bahrain, we saw a lot of one-stop strategies. We had a lot of safety cars, so they became 2-stops. But at the start, they were 1-stops, which, for Bahrain, you can do either or. But, typically it's good to do a 2-stop in Bahrain. So it'd be interesting to see whether they go and try to do 1-stop here, which is more difficult in Silverstone than is Bahrain, or if they go for the 2-stop. Or, the 2-stopper is still difficult, though, especially if you're behind or in the middle of the pack, it becomes more difficult. Because while it is a great racing circuit, finding overtakes can be difficult in a lot of these difficult turns, especially in Beckett's.
Yeah, so finding the balance, and I think everyone's going to be trying to do their best to keep that in mind. I'm not sure how hard they're going to be paying attention to their setups for the cars, but you got to have a stable rear end around this track. The car's got to be planted, because you've got high speed corner after high speed corner, high lateral grip, high downforce, and you can afford to chew up the tires a bit, because we can reasonably expect at least some kind of shenanigans or some kind of safety car. I don't think I'm out of line for saying that, but with that in mind, they can afford to be a little bit more aggressive on the downforce and on the tire wear as a result. They kind of need to factor that in, because what's a couple of % tire wear worth when you're talking about half a second to a second of gains?
Yeah, and especially on this circuit, again, if you're in a competition, if you're in a battle, you want to be in those DRS ranges, so it's worth taking that risk. And because again, Silverstone, in real life as well, it's full of crashes, and it's going to happen here. We saw Bahrain; it was a mess. I didn't see the Canadian race, so I'm not quite sure how that went. Bahrain, we had plenty of incidents happening on the track, and I'm sure we'll see more today.
Yeah, hopefully not. Of course, we never want to outright wish for incidents, people's races to be ruined or anything like that. But it's got to be sometimes saying, all right, there's a reasonable expectation that this is going to happen. And like any of us in the audience or in the commentary box, the drivers are going to have to account for that. You're going to be thinking on your feet, thinking on your toes, understanding the situation that's ahead of you. And in the case of these drivers here, trying to find a settling spot as quickly as possible. We are just a little bit delayed in getting into the race. A couple drivers having some technical issues connecting to the lobby, but once we have them in, we will be running straight into quali.
I should not have said anything in the precast, because I was saying we probably won't need a technical pause, and here we are already. Oh man, the cast is cursed. I wasn't on stream and I was cursing the cast already, so that says everything. It happens in Rocket League, it happens in Formula 1. That's the way it is.
It's always the way that is. Well, we're just going to quickly check in on the drivers and check in on everyone, and we will see how quickly we can get into things. So we'll be right back with you. It looks like the technical issues have been resolved, or at least for the most ones. We're just waiting on one now. But even then, the driver in question has said, look, just go without me, and I'll join halfway through if I can get it to work. Which, sportsmanship. That's sportsmanship.
Yeah.
It's the end of the day, this is collegiate.
Exactly. And look, if he comes in halfway through as well, he gets probably, what, 2-3 maybe laps, and he gets to save a set of tyres. It's not the end of the world for him either if he can get in halfway through, because he's going to save a set of tyres for the race, and also as well have 2 or 3 laps to post a good time. So it's not really... Well, if he gets in halfway through, it's not going to be the end of the world for him, basically. He'll obviously have a bit of time to get some time set, and to get a bit of a look in on the course, which is important.
Yeah, and... Let's say it's that balance of time, and I mean, I come from experience as well. Say I got a UK college I run an esports team for, some championships for, and at the end of the day, it's balance. You could be an amazing player, but things have got to work, and you've got to work around you. I have told quite a few students now that, look, your work's not there, then you can't play. You got to respect that the college, the collegiate, it is secondary to the actual student part being a student, and that's kind of the difficult balance that you got to strike with this sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And as well, it's more difficult well being on a Friday, because obviously some students obviously start working today. You know, they might be working bars, might be working hospitality and start doing the weekends. So it can be more difficult for students on a Friday. But yeah, definitely you have to balance that. And look, you know, it's great being a part of the collegiate series. It's great having fun, you know, playing against fellow colleges, playing against your fellow students. But at the end of the day, your studies and obviously everything else in your life comes first before that. Video games are a great pastime, but that's what they are, pastime.
Amen to that. Well, it looks like we are officially joining in, so we are unfortunately losing one of our drivers, but you can hear the ticker going just in the background, and we are about to get away with some racing. So let us know who you have got your eyes on, and we are jumping into things good and proper. This is Silverstone, and this is Ireland Esports Collegiate Series, powered by Natives.
Really good racing.
Yep. We're just waiting now to see who is going to be coming out first. And I really am surprised that still nobody's coming out yet. Of course, initial application of things like setups and getting yourself ready to go. But you want to get out as soon as possible. You want that dry track. You want that clean air all to yourself. Surely.
Yeah, especially for your flying lap, you know, get yourself equated, you know, get a clean time, then hopefully no one comes out of the pit right as you're going. So yeah, first one is gonna obviously have an advantage every time. It seems like still no one coming out yet. A few players think about it, but no one really coming out yet. Still waiting. There we go. There's our first person coming out now. So we'll have our first man out on the track, and it is going to be Silent Sword. He's going to be the first out. He's going to be the first to start his flying lap around this course. Of course, he'll come out the pit lane and come straight into Abbey. So he'll get up to speed for that first turn. And of course, you know, you're looking probably like 120, sub 125 here for a good time, I believe.
Yes, it sounds about right. But the crucial thing to note is that I have got a little extra telemetry gubbins going here. I've got some race engineer kicks rocking on my monitor, my second monitor. And it's looking like here, yes, it is sunny here in Quali, but it's looking overcast / rainy for the race. So how do you think that's going to impact people?
Also, the players are hoping for the race, so that's good to see. And it makes it more interesting, obviously, because you know, wet track, you know, less friction on the tires, less grip, so it becomes more about how you handle the car around the park rather than relying on your braking and your wheels to keep that grip. It's all about your skill itself. Obviously, as well, the fact it's not guaranteed to rain makes it even more interesting, because that obviously builds into your pit strategy. So, like, when it starts raining, do you come in for your wet tires, or do you stay out for a little bit and hope that you can get some dry track for a little bit longer? It does add to the tactical battle of the race, which is interesting.
Yeah, the tactical battle is going to be the biggest part here, I think, especially if it dries up mid-race. According to some of my monitors, that is what it looks like it's going to do. So, of course, we're on board with Silent Sword right now as he's first out, and he's going to be the first one to go for a hot lap I wonder how this is going to compromise setups, because drivers, if you're going to have a wet race, typically they run the car a little bit higher, a little bit softer in order to be a little bit more predictable and a little bit less twitchy.
Yeah, absolutely, because you twitch it all and on a wet track, you're going flying, you're on spinning, that's the way it is. Yeah, it's definitely going to affect that. And that's the thing, you know, it's the great thing about simulated racing is that things can change in a moment. And you already see there, it's going to rain at the start, so we wet at the start, and then it may dry up later on. So that makes it more interesting. That makes their decisions on how they set up their car going in. Obviously affects as well their pit strategy as well. So it's a lot of things to think about after qualifying, which is very interesting. And you know, it's what we like to see, you know, making the players think of the fly. And that's the great thing about sim racing as well. It's that it's not just about how good you are at, you know, getting around the course, getting around a circuit. It's also how you think about what you're doing, how you strategize your race. It's more than just pure technical skill. It's also about how you think about how you want to get around that course.
Yeah, how you want to get around the course is great for one lap, but how you're going to survive the race is a completely different question, as you say there. So balancing the tires, balancing how much you're pushing the car, even things like down to the fuel. Like, I know drivers tend to go a little bit safer in this series, but it's not uncommon as well, especially as you try to push the limits. Drivers will underfuel and then lift and coast a little bit, save that crucial time.
But so we're here, a good lap so far. He's nothing too amazing, nothing too major going wrong yet either. He's coming down now here into the final few turns. He'll be hoping to get a good time here. Takes that nicely, gets on the curb the inside. We have a caution already, but should be okay as he comes down. He gets a 1:26.5, so that's a pretty good time. You know, that's a good marker for the rest of the field.
That is a real good marker, and unfortunately a lot of the other cars on the field are coloured black according to their primary, so it's getting a little bit hard to track. But you've got Levente with a 26.7, so just a couple tenths behind Silent Sword. His pole at the moment is going to stand. You got Nico coming down through sector 3, just coming up to Vale. Last couple of corners on this course. He's got to lay on the power gently, then full throttle through Club if he gets the line just right. Oh, a little bit of a twitch there coming out of him. There's going to be a 29.8. It's not going to be the one for him today. And they got a few more coming through. So Minikai is going to be starting a lap. Lim Craig is going to be starting a lap as well. They're both on outs. And then Drippin, I think, is on a main run right now.
Yeah, it was a good Sector 1 and Sector 2 for Nico. He was on pace with Silent Sword, but then Sector 3, he just kind of, through a few turns, got it wrong, then obviously twitched in the last corner, and that's made the time turn out a bit. Probably lost about 2 seconds on that alone, so, you know, it's difficult. Anything goes wrong on this course, and you're going to lose time, and that's the difficult thing. You have to balance everything perfectly and get everything right, or else the time's not going to be perfect. Any mistake in Silverstone is going to cost you half a second.
Easily half a second, if not more. So you got Ghost coming around here. Next driver on the plate. Is it going to be good? 139.3. So I think a mistake happened there, and they're going to have to do a little bit of cleanup work before they can go again. A couple more drivers to keep an eye on. Of course, we've got Minikai and Liam Craig who are on the push right now. We'll jump on Minikai first as he's ahead, and then we'll jump on with Liam Craig, see what he's doing there. But through Maggot Speckets now coming through Chapel into the hangar straight, a little bit more on the brakes than they maybe would have liked. Not the ideal line. Such a complex set of corners through there, but you can see 200 mile an hour plus coming through the hangar straight. Heavy on the brakes, down into Stowe. Clean line, a little bit much of the curb there, but keeps it together.
Yeah, good sectors. That's the fastest we've seen through 2 sectors so far, 1:03.4. So it's going to be a close time here coming in the end, but he's going to be behind that. Just a little bit of error there coming out of the hangar straight into the next corner kind of cost them a few seconds. And that's the thing, like a little mistake. And then Liam again just takes a whole second off Silent Sword and shows he's still the man to beat on this circuit.
Still the man to beat, period. By the looks of things, second clear of the next competitor is no small feat whatsoever. You got 11 minutes, so he can't rest on his laurels yet, but he's still got a heck of a statement that he's put out to those other drivers.
Yeah, for sure. That's what happened last time as well in Bahrain. He was 1.5 seconds clear with about 8 minutes to go, and he called it just to save a set of tires. I don't think he can do that here yet, because obviously I think a few players here just had minor mistakes they can clean up and get a, you know, another second and a half out of their time. So 1:25 not safe yet. It's a good time, it's a good marker, but it's not safe at all. It's going into a final straight here through Vale, and then coming down into the final straight here, getting his first lap in. He's hoping to get something good here. Good start there. Comes through the first set after Abby nicely and gets up and down nicely. He's moving well here. Good speed. Takes the break a little late there. And he's cost him a little bit. Couldn't quite get the apex into your slide, which he kind of needed to do. So that's going to take a probably second out of him. But you know, they're hitting Abby well so far. And that's a good thing to see, because obviously Abby can be such a deceptive corner.
Yeah, but it's a high commitment corner as well. You got to trust in the car a little bit. And you can say the same for a lot of this section as we go through Love Field. It's a lot of commitment. This track really tests not only your ability to handle good lines, handle a certain level of grip and a good setup, but it also assesses your trust in the car. Like here, through Cops, you can take it flat, but it's about the drivers asking themselves, okay, can I take it flat? Can I trust the car? You can trust the car, but sometimes it takes a little bit of extra push, because it's not a crime to be cautious, as we see there. Just a little bit of an overextend is going to be a still a legal lap, but you see coming down, it's not the fastest, but yeah, the trust is certainly in the car, and that's the thing you got to test here.
Yeah, really, you have to trust your character, trust yourself, really throw yourself into the corner as well as you can here. And that's the thing, so many high-speed corners here. And even with Beckett, Beckett is such a difficult turn, but if you commit to that, you can go through that at good speed, as long as you hug that left-hand side. Like as a certain commentator said, like your grandmother, you'll be fine coming through it. So it is more about trusting yourself and trusting that you can get through those. Any hesitation at all is going to cost you a lot of time in this course.
Yeah, any hesitation, easily half a second, and that's just the start of it. Triangle Lemon now on the second sector, looking to be putting down good times. So interestingly, I've got the telemetry here. Fun fact of the day, the F1 world car, like the player car, is technically classed as a McLaren. According to the internal game, the game readouts on the telemetry, everything starts with an MCL. So it is classed theoretically as a sea of McLarens. The more you know.
Yeah. The more you know. They can't do much in the actual real life, but it seems like their car is actually pretty good. So it would make a lot of sense that they're doing well, but coming through that's a little bit. Just didn't really commit to that corner, came out the side, or really just came in the middle, didn't know what he was doing, but he's coming through so nicely. He's trying to get around, trying to find his way into this pit lane. He's going to be well down the pace, but can he pick up a few positions perhaps? No, still P7. And well, only one player left to put a time down, and that is Freedom. So he's on his outlap now, but can he get something on the board? Can he push Liam Craig to the very end? Dripping this guy, I thought could push Liam Craig here. He's at a 127 so far. So, Silent Sword still holding P2 and still doing well, but Liam's still well in front by a second.
Yeah, and I say we'll jump quickly on with Silent Sword because it looks like he's on another push. He's going to try and gain a lot of time. Say 4/10 down from the second sector, so certainly doing some good work here, but can he string it together for a full lap? That is the question as we come through Vale, and we're coming out, of course, once again, full commitment through into Club, nailing that apex, getting on the power. It is a massive improvement. 25.8 we're down to, but it's still a few tenths shy of Liam's time, and that's the crucial issue at hand here. He's still got work to do, and he's got 7 minutes to do it.
Yeah, but one good thing about that, the fact Silent Sword is pushing means that Liam just can't retire now and save a set of tires. He has to push himself to guarantee himself P1. If you're on the front row in Silverstone, you're still in a good position anyway, but you definitely want that P1. You want to be controlling that formation lap, and then you want to get that lights out and get a good start away from everyone and clean traffic into Abbey. Because again, Abbey's so quick, and you're starting into it. It's a difficult turn one. It's not as crazy as Bahrain, but it's definitely not a safe turn one at all in terms of a start for a race.
Yeah, and you really got to be keeping your wits about you with that one. On board with Freedom now, I say Levente got a 25.7, so that just doubly affirms your point that Liam can't rest on his laurels anymore. You can see he's back out there going for another lap because he cannot play it safe. He has to burn that set of tires. Freedom a little bit wide on the apex coming out of Beckett's into Chapel, and then down the hanger straight, he's going to recover it, so good amount of speed. He's pushing through there, say 207, 208. So I think that's the fastest speed that we've been reading on the track thus far. and is doing pretty well for himself as he comes through. Last couple of corners here, going full commit. Seems to be running on good time here. Real good time, in fact, and that is pole 0.509. Driver to keep an eye on from last season, and he brings it here again.
Yeah, fantastic, and it's great to see. We've got a bit of a push now here. 4 people pushing sub 26 here, and 2 of them looking they could go, maybe 2 or 3 of them maybe could go lower than 125.5 as well. So Liam, but Liam, look at that, he just takes 3/100 of a second off his old time to retake pole position. We counted him out for a second, he says nah, not today.
And that's really the game that we're playing here. It's just understanding that these drivers are pushing each other. If we didn't have the likes of Levente, Silent Sword, Freedom coming in and pushing and getting those extra tenths in, we wouldn't have seen just how much he could bring to the table and how far Liam could go. So it's really awesome to see these drivers at the top end fighting each other, giving it their all between the 3, 4 of them, and seeing just how hard these drivers can go.
Yeah, and the great thing as well is that as long as we're pretty clean in that top half, through turn 1 and 2, we could see a very good race today. So we could see some really good battles for not just the podium, but also the top spot of the podium as well, because they're all really close time-wise now. Just 600th second separating first from fourth. So, it sounds like a lot in a lap, but for a qualifying lap, it's not that much, because obviously there's differences in car makeup and obviously fuel load for the actual race, and obviously then you're battling. You've got the ERS and ERS during the race, so both of those things can be a big help in an actual race situation. So Liam here, I think he's going to have a battle today.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have a battle on his hands. And we've got 4 minutes to see if anyone can dethrone that quality spot. Dripping coming through now. He's going to get an improvement. Yes, say about half a second. Not enough to make a position, but good enough to definitely confirm his P5. Now, is he going to go out again? That's the question. Is he going to have enough time as well to go out again? That's something else he's got to grapple with. So on board with CG now. And you're going to see that he's not as fast as the other drivers through the 3rd sector. Maybe he's gone for a little bit different of a setup strategy.
He could have indeed, and maybe he knew what you knew, that there was going to be rain later on. He's already set up for that now. He just wants to get used to the car around the track while it's dry, and then take that out into the wet and see how it goes. We're not quite sure. We don't have access to their makeups. Obviously, they could draw it themselves, but certainly it seems different. He's gone very wide there, though. It's not the best, but some good times being set in that sector 2 now by most racers. Top 6 at least, all setting good sector 2 times. And sector 2 is not easy. Obviously you got Becca in it, so it's a difficult sector to get right. And a lot of the racers seem to be doing it so far.
Yeah, they've really been able to keep a good handle on things. Unfortunately, CG, he was gonna at least look like he was going to push a little bit harder, but he's got an invalidation there. Ghost now, one that is currently sitting on a 39.3, so it costs 10 seconds off of the next driver in P9. He's got his work cut out for him.
He really does. Can he get something going here? He's on sector 2. He's doing well enough. That's a good sector 1 as well he had. So he's never made a lot of time on his old lap. So maybe he's leaving it to the end here. Get 2 good laps. He'll have another lap after this for sure. I'm not sure he'll get a 3rd one in, but he'll definitely get another one after this. So this could do setting up for the next lap. Try to get everything as perfect as he can this one and then go all out the next one. But nicely true there. Doing very well so far. Flying it now in this sector 2. And he's got a 103. So that's a good sign for 2 sectors. He's on here for a P5.
Yeah, he's certainly on the books for a good run here for anything to go by. So can he keep it connected through sector 3? That's the question that we've got to find the answer to. Pretty sharpish. It goes a little bit narrow. He has to avoid the sausage curve to take evading action, but it is a good run, and that is going to be P6, so that is a showcase of what Ghost can do. Is anyone going to respond?
Definitely, we're on the last here, minute and a half, so this will be, most people out on a lap now. We'll have one more lap after this, and that'll be it then. It's around that range now where if you're on a lap, that's it. You've got one left in you. He goes on an outlap, he'll get through that one as well. And we've got, obviously, we have Mini, CG, and Drippin have all called it. They're happy enough with what they've got there in the pit. They'll be leaving that for now. But here comes Lemon, just trying to find something, trying to get something good. He's in P9 at the moment. Can he improve upon that? He's in a bit of traffic though, and he got held up on that. Yeah, he's going to have to go another lap here. He'll get his last lap in, but that's unfortunate. He's got caught with a little bit of traffic.
Yeah, that looked a little bit rough there, a little bit sketchy, at least from the cam that we got to see. But it looks like he's letting off. I think he doesn't have the ERS in him to go for another. I think he's going to call it there.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate then that he got caught up in that traffic. It's just, it's part of the race. I don't think there's anything malicious in it, but it's just unfortunate. I just think the man on the outlap just took the corner wrong and then got in the way of the racing line, which is unfortunate, but, it is what it is, and, we have to go with what we see, unfortunately, and, but here comes Liam. Can he improve on his time? Can he go sub 125? It's a good first sector, not anything special, but it's good enough. So by sector 2 now, can he make up a lot of time in sector 2 and really push everyone else? Of course, this is the checker flag now, so everyone who comes over now will be doing. We still have the 4 main lads on the track, so they'll be fighting, hoping to get a better time and see if they can improve their positions or even take P1.
So big improvements going to be needed from some of these guys. So Levente is going to be first off over the checkered flag to make the run, and is it going to be an improvement? He was a couple tenths up. It's a 0.409. That's going to put him into P2. Silent Sword is going to be out of this, and we're going to see a couple more drivers give it a bit of a push as well. But Liam and Freedom are both in now. So Freedom next across the line. Let's see what he can do. A little bit of traffic up ahead of him he's got to be careful of, but he's just going to dodge it, and it's a pole. It's a 0.138, and Liam is gone into the pits. So out of nowhere, Freedom's take a pole.
On the last lap, the last man to complete, apart from Nico, is still out there, but he's the last man to finish, and he gets P1 out of nowhere, and even a little bit of traffic ahead of him, he still managed it perfectly. That is fantastic from Freedom, and he will be on P1. Liam, for once here, staring down the barrel of someone else's car.
Yeah, and that is a real last-minute turn of events, because by all accounts, we were expecting Liam to go on this final push, this final lap. And the way he was using his ERS predicted it, we were predicting it so I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed.
He may have taken a corner wrong. He may just have got something wrong because he seemed to pull out of the lap rather than anything else. He just didn't seem happy with his lap at all. So that may have been it. But Freedom will be the man going into the race in P1. And, Grady was doubting him at the start. Our admin was doubting him at the start. But I think Freedom's should all people up now today. Of course, Grady is supporting him. We love Grady. He is supporting him, really. He was having a joke. But yeah, what a finish to qualifying.
What a finish indeed. And what else can you really say? You got the times on the board now, and Freedom is going to be the one to take the top spot. Liam lines up on the front row alongside 0.122 behind, and then Levente in P3, Silent Sword P4, Drip in P5, Ghost in P6 after a little bit of an initial scare. We didn't think they were going to make it up. Triangle Lemon in P7, Minikai in P8, CG in P9, and Nico in P10 after a brave, valiant effort. Unfortunately did not translate into a change in position. But here you go, folks. I'm going to take a quick second, and then we will be in. And you can see here, everyone is loading up, and hopefully should be nice and quick.
Hopefully so. We'll hopefully get everyone in time, no issues again like earlier on, but it should be grand because it's already in, so it should be okay. And there you see it, the rain bucketing down in Silverstone. We knew it already, because obviously thank you to my co-caster, Sappy. He knew full well what was happening due to his technological advances there that he has. But yeah, so we got rain, and it's going to clear up halfway through the race, so definitely makes it an interesting strategy for everybody. Everyone's going to see them start in the wets, and interesting to see how they set up their cars now.
Yeah, so how they're setting up their cars is going to be the big part of this that really differentiates and sets them apart in this race, because you have two schools of thought. You have people who have committed to the wet setup, and that's why they're maybe a little bit slower in quali, who are really going to surge up to the front of the field. Or you're going to have those who kind of went for an intermediate temperate setup. But here you go. I'll leave it to you as we have got the formation lap starting.
Yeah, we do indeed, and of course Freedom will lead us out. Just everyone will try to get their tires up to temperature now, just to see a bit of weaving around the track as they come through. It is very wet. Puddles not really in the track. Silverstone does have nice drainage systems, thankfully, but you see how wet the track is already. And that spray, of course, and that's the advantage as well of starting in a rain on the front row, because everyone else behind you is getting that spray in their face. You've got clean air, so it's good to have that at the start. But obviously that can lead to incidents going to turn 1 as well. So dodgy, but it's gonna be interesting to see how this starts. But Freedom just taking it around, and taking it slow, just getting that car warmed up, getting used to this track again, and lead everybody out nicely. Liam there, Liam getting very dodgy there, close to taking over. But he pulls back a little bit. Freedom just happy enough to saunter around the course a little bit.
Yeah, and this is where they could even try and get a little bit of a feeler for the level of grip, because you've got the wheel and you've got the level of force feedback, and while not at full push, you still can get a bit of an idea of the grip difference, but it is still going to be an adjustment. I wouldn't be surprised if you drivers get caught off guard in these first couple of laps as they try and find what is that balance, what is that safe zone between running hard and overstepping and maybe thinking too much that they've got the dry level of grip, when they will be sorely mistaken and corrected as they are facing backwards before long.
Grady there, a bit of a gamesmanship already. You see him just constantly in Freedom's mirror, coming right beside him as well. So maybe trying to spook him a little bit coming into the start of the race. I'm not quite sure, but it does seem like a bit of gamesmanship there, Sappy, from Liam.
Yeah, he's certainly trying to scope out his opponent, spook him a little bit. And even before the race starts, this is where you apply a bit of pressure. You say, all right, I'm going to be right up in your grill. Because if you see Liam constantly pushing up to the back of you and going alongside and getting real close, even on the formation lap, what's that going to make you think about full race running? It's going to make you think that they're going to be aggressive and really pushing you hard. So that is already establishing that pressure and communicating in a very unique way that you don't see elsewhere in any other medium.
Oh, definitely not. It's a bit of a psych earlier on. All right, Levante did the same as well, kind of halfway through sector 2, he realized what Liam was doing. It's like, oh, I can do that to you back. So he was pushing up right beside Liam then as well. So it's a bit of a spicy start here. Just the formation lap, and it's already spicy. That's what we like to see. We like to see, oh dear, oh my, yeah, almost have a collision before the race even starts.
Yeah, it looks like Silent is going to be in the correct place, and a few DSQs coming out from the formation lap, but of course they will be fine for the race. Just the game being a little bit quirky, we'll say. But here we go. It's game time. It's 5 red lights. Track is hot, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to go away. And
where do we go?
Lights out, and away we go eventually. But here we go then. Camera's having a little bit of a moment, it seems like, and Liam is already hot on the back of Freedom. He's already trying to crack and push. It's just coming out of Abby. Not even in the first corner. We have a collision, and that is going to be between CG and Nico. There's damage afoot, and there's a VSC.
Had to be, didn't it? We thought something might happen. And, being far down the track there, Nico getting on the wrong side of it there. CG getting a 5-second penalty for a collision with Nico. He will take that. The drive-through, I believe, so it will be interesting. But virtual safety car out now. So, yeah, and there's no DRS in the first 2 laps. And it's not a big deal. But, of course, Liam making that move on turn 1, then into turn 2, and finishing it on turn 3. So, he is in first place, which he'll be loving. And, Freedom a bit disappointed with that. He didn't get the cleanest getaway, and that allowed Liam just to get up behind him, use a slipstream, and then come around the outside.
Yeah, they got to be super careful with what he's doing right now. And he's got to be super careful with his opponents, because now we are back up to full race speed. Liam has, of course, got a bit of a run. We're not going to be seeing any DRS given that it is raining. But the crucial thing here is that now Freedom is under significant pressure. Drippin is going to be right to his back, and then coming down the hangar straight, there's going to be a drag race between. Freedom's going to go on the inside. He's going to be playing the defensive line. You see Drippin just hangs it around the outside perfectly. What a move there. Freedom's heading into the pit. Is that? Yeah, he's headed into the pit. Has he got damage?
Don't know. There may be a bit of contact between him and Drippin. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but Drippin waited until Freedom was braking, and then waited and broke after, went around the outside beautifully. A lovely overtake. But Liam is away now. He's already got 2 seconds, and he's already outside of DRS. So that is huge, obviously, massive. He's got away nicely, and he's got away from that battle at the back. You know, even though he started at P2, it didn't matter. He just took P1 within seconds of the race starting.
Yeah, and he knew what he wanted. He went out and took it, and now he has got potentially a really good, clean gap between himself and any real challenges on the field. Oh, big snap from Levente there. That's what we were saying earlier about not fully adjusting to the wet running and being a little bit overzealous with some of the grip levels you have. Luckily, Dead managed to catch it, but Minikai is chasing down hard.
Yeah, some great battles reforming here. You know, Freedom there is obviously massively down now because of that pit stop. He's a good bit back, but you know, the top few there, whereas Liam pulling away, but everyone else within seconds of each other, less than half a second of each place above them. So it's going to be a hell of a fight there from second to fifth. It looks like Liam is away pretty clean. He's already got 5 seconds. 3 seconds ahead, 3.5 seconds near you now, so he looks like he's going to pull away. But of course, you never know what can happen. Safety cars can happen, other things can happen, pit strategy can come into it as well. So around the downside here comes Levante looking to get up on Ghost, and he won't quite manage to do so. Ghost holding him off for now, but Levante not giving up. He comes down the inside. Can he hold it going into the turn? No, he can't. He's still on the outside. Bit of contact there, but it works out okay, and Liam just extends his fastest lap.
Yeah, so that is a real mission statement. So getting that fastest lap and now being over almost 4 seconds clean of dripping up in P2. But Levente with a really good move there. A little bit of contact, mind you, as you did say, but he's still got that done and remained committed. Having that aggression goes sometimes a long way. It can get you in a bit of trouble, but when it works, and it does so very, very well. As Minikai, a little bit tap against Ghost later, is going to get P4, but I'm not sure he's going to take that one lying down.
Definitely not. Coming good racing here, wheel to wheel, coming into this turn, lucky to get around each other, but as Mini will keep the position for now. It won't actually be Ghost who will take it back. A good battle here for P4 already, and we've seen a good battle ahead of themselves for P2, but Liam is just streaking clear right now. But we've got some really good battles down the field here. You still even still got Lemon there, who's still in the battle there for that P4 position. So this is going to be an interesting race in that top half. The bottom half is out enough. You know, maybe P7 could be a fight there. It is going to be a fight actually. It's massively turned down, but everywhere else kind of seems like settled. And Freedom's got a lot of work to do to catch back up with this field. He's already taken a stop, so he's going to get a 2-stop now, and it's going to be a long 2-stop as well.
I think he's kind of in the back of his mind begging for a safety car or something to happen, because there's no way he's going to naturalistically gain over 30 seconds plus to the rest of the pack in order to catch up to the likes of Drippin and Liam. There's not going to be an opportunity. You just can't do it. You've got a few drivers as well who we can keep an eye on, like for instance Lemon. He is overdriving the car a bit in my opinion. We saw him overextend and really kind of take the car with a bit too much speed into some corners. He had to brake it, lose a bit of time. But he's showing that he can hold the pace, and provided he doesn't overdo it, is on the course to really push. But you say that Drippin and Levente are coming to blows now. Levente's back in it, and they've made a bit of contact, but now coming through, they're going to be drag racing.
Drippin there, just flirting with the boundary, but Levante takes the late break and he gets ahead as well. He just side Drippin out a little bit. Drippin trying to come back on the inside here and get in front, but Levante will have the inside corner coming into the next one, but they're side by side. This is a great race. So many battles in the park already, Zappy.
There's so many, and they're looking so fierce as well. Nobody's getting overly unruly as well, so it goes to show the sportsmanship, the gamership really coming into play. A little bit of a wide run from a Drippin there, but he's doing well nonetheless. You got Padakeni, who's making a bit of a trade in Silent Sword now. Of course, a really good run-up from last season as well in a previous game, in the previous series under Natives. And now you can see that they, despite not being able to attend quali due to technical issues, they are pushing, and they are pushing hard. What do you make of them? Were they in any rounds that you've been commentating over?
Yeah, he had a really good race in Bahrain. Just got one or two incidents with him, and I believe it was Mini. Unfortunately, Paddock came on the wrong side of it, but he was racing hard at times, and that's what we like to see. And again, very much like Bahrain, the battles have been so intense, but they've been so fair. You know, we've got wheel to wheel, you know, a little bit of contact. Obviously, Freedom having front wing damage, unfortunately, from that start. I'm not quite sure how it happened, but it was front wing damage to start. For him, that's why he take the pit. Unfortunately for him, that is very unlucky. But he is making up time here. He's made up about 10 seconds in the last 2 laps, so he still needs a safety car to give himself any chance, and that's on Mini coming just through the inside, trying to take that position. Sight down his boat, but can't quite manage to do so. As Lemon will keep on to not for long. The Mini and Lemon here going side by side again up the straight, trying their best to find him. They're trying to psych each other out here. Little bit of a issue there. Not quite sure what happened there. Lemon just turned off a little bit, got a bit freaked out, and Lemon needs to keep the position for now. But Lemon's coming back for a second bite. Zappy, this is just incredible racing. 5 laps in already.
It's brilliant stuff to see, and you can see that Lemon is really pushing, but not in an overzealous manner. You can see he's got the speed, he's coming out, he's poking his head out, but if he knows he can't do it, he's not going to do it. Levente is going to be getting 3 seconds for multiple warnings, and that's track limits, so that's going to be the stain on his race for sure. That's going to put him net P4, as Ghost and Drippin are going to get promoted, so he now has a new objective on his hands, and that is to gain time, gain it fast.
Yeah, it really is, and take that pit as well. Try and undercut his opponent, maybe, or try and stay a bit longer, and really try and use the strategy as best he can to get those 3 seconds back somehow. This fight still going on between Mini and Lemon. Lemon is not giving up. He goes a bit wide there, but he doesn't lose as much time as he should have. Mini is just defending for his life right now, and that's the thing as well. All these battles are helping Liam, who now has a 7.5 second lead. Oh, Lemon has gone sideways. Can he recover that? He's gone sideways. Nothing wrong there, but that's unfortunate. Was back out on the track, but that will end that battle for now. That is so unfortunate. Too aggressive into that last turn.
Yeah, we already saw him being a little bit shaky there, so coming through Vale, he outbraked himself and he had to take it super slow. So I think just in a little bit of anxiety trying to get back onto the back of Mini, he just pushed it a little bit too much on the throttle. He kicked the rear out, couldn't really save it, even with some counter steer and a little bit predictive throttle and letting off a bit as well. He just couldn't save it, so unfortunately he's going to be going all the way down in a P8, and that is going to be that battle over for him, which is a shame.
It really is a shame, but what we haven't talked about so far is Ghost. He's got up. He was P10 before his last lap in qualifying. Now in P6, he's now got up 2 spots in the race so far. So we haven't really talked much about it, but he's quietly done his work so far.
Yeah, he's been putting in work. He's been quietly getting the racing done, and he's not made much of a song or dance about it. Lemon, to add insult to injury, he's going to be getting 3 seconds as well, so that's going to be net P9 for him unless he can make a second to Nico. But yeah, Ghost has just been putting in the work. He of course made that quick recovery in quali. He's made good work and advantage of his opponents making mistakes and making a lot of offensive and defensive moves around him. Because, of course, if you're attacking or defending, you're not on the ideal line. So as fast as you're going, you're not going to be as fast as you can be. And that's something Ghost is taking advantage of. A little bit much on the sausage curb there coming through Club. But as we start the 7th lap for him here, he is looking very strong. And he's looking to catch up to Drippin fairly soon.
Yeah, he is indeed, of course. With that happening as well, it helps Levante.
Oh, it's a safety car.
Oh, so that's going to help everybody. And it's Lemon. He's gone. Lemon has retired. Not quite sure what happened, but Lemon is our first retiree of the race. I have to see what happened there, but it may have been an incident off the track. He's obviously looking a bit twitchy throughout the race. He may have just not hit a turn correctly and just crashed somewhere. That's really unfortunate, but unfortunately, Lemon will be our first retiree of the race, and it comes 7 laps in, but a safety car is huge for everybody else. It's massive as well for surely pit stops now. I know it's still 20. We're in that range as well. Hopefully, you can go for our first stop now with the safety car out.
Yeah, so I think everyone's going to be at least taking a stop or taking advantage. Certainly Patakeni is, because he got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. I wonder if that's going to get repealed, because that seemed very out of the blue to me. But we'll, of course, wait and see how it goes. As it stands now, and I said this in the last round, I'll say it again, there's a big winners and big losers with a safety car. Big winner, Freedom, for instance. He's got a massive time deficit, and now he can start to make that up. Big loser, Liam, because he's got this 10-11 second gap, and now he's going to have to forfeit it behind safety as everyone catches up.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is part of the race, unfortunately. But people, of course, Liam will come in and take his first pit stop, unsurprisingly. Might as well get it in now. The safety car is out. It's the best time to do it, especially on a 2-stopper. And we know the rain is going to ease off later on, so will the track get drier now? That's the big question. But it's best just to take your stops now, take your pits now while you can, while you're behind the safety car anyway. But yeah, Liam obviously a big loser, but the fact he got away so easily and just took a big second and stayed out those battles, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, I think he'll be just fine in the end of it all. This is the difficult part because being in the F1 World Car, the player car, means that you don't know who you're stacking in the pit box with. So you could be really unlucky and get yourself a double stack. And I think at least one person is guaranteed to get that because we have 10 pit boxes and 11 cars. Though Lemon is out, that still doesn't eliminate the double stack. Everyone seems to have avoided it, but Nico, interestingly, stayed out completely.
He could be on a wood stopper. It's a strategy. Look, he's down he's down the field. It might work to him. You know, he's always going to stop later on. He's going to have to hope for another safety car later on so he can stop himself. But you know, it's a strategy you have to go with. Everyone else is on a 2-stop now, basically. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how his tires will hold up for the next. Probably looking at 6-7 laps. He'll probably look to get to 14-15 laps before he stops. Minimum. So he's gonna have to hold his car nicely and hope that the rain stays on for now.
Yeah, say hope and pray the rain remains. And it looks like it is going to. According to some of my readouts, it's looking to remain raining for at least the next 30 minutes. So that is a high probability. And the weather system on this game is a little bit curious. It's not fully deterministic. It has a random chance baked in. So I'm seeing here 62% chance for it to remain raining in 30 minutes time. And of course, that'll get more accurate and closer to 0 or 100 the closer to the time you get. You do have a couple penalties coming out. So for instance, say Nico and Levente, there's going to be a bit of an exchange there, and there's going to be a bit of a penalty coming out, which I'm sure Nico's none too pleased with.
Oh, definitely not. He's not going to be happy with that at all. Probably tracked a bit exceeding that. I'm not quite sure what it was, but it's unfortunate, but you have to deal with it. And of course, that will put him basically now way down the list. But of course, you know, still so much time, and you don't have to serve it till the end if you don't want to. So it's not the end of the world. Taking those 3 seconds, hope you get that 3-second lead over a different position behind you. But the safety car punching everybody up now. Everybody almost together. Freedom still 12 seconds back, but he'll probably make it. He's making time quickly. As who's coming in the pit now? Nico's coming in now. He decided to come in this time. So, you know, probably the best thing with that penalty. Probably the best thing just to come in for the pit and do the 1-2 stop now.
I think it's kind of a necessity given that whatever caused that penalty left him with no front wing. So he's kind of having to stop regardless. Luckily, he hadn't done a stop before, so he kind of saved himself in that regard, and the safety car does look to be going out for one more lap, so he does have an opportunity to catch up and make up for some lost time. Freedom has made up for a significant amount of lost time, and he's up in P7 now. He's technically gained from all of this.
Yeah, but he's on a 3-stop strategy now, clearly, because he's going for a second stop there during that safety car, so he's on a 3-stopper. Which obviously he had to go in for the wing, obviously, but he decided to go in anyway with the safety car in. So he's going to have to hope for another safety car just to help him get in for his 3rd stop there. But yeah, everyone now on that at least 2-stop strategy, it seems. Yeah, everyone's on a 2-stop strategy now, yeah.
Yeah, so everyone is on a minimum of 2-stop, maybe even a 3 in some cases. Like CG could be another one who we keep an eye on as one to go for a 3-stopper. But everyone is pretty much confirmed to be on the back of the safety car by the time it leaves and the drivers get back to full race speed. So how do you think this is going to change the dynamics of the race?
Well, we've already seen so many great battles, and you know, you've got so many players there who are just itching for a fight in the best way possible. It's all about now, do they try and fight from the start, or do they try and keep Liam in check to drag him into those battles? Because what happened last time was everyone got into battles and Liam just was streaking away because everyone else was in battles. So obviously, when you're fighting, you're not as fast as you are normally because you're trying to obviously maneuver to stop the person behind you getting ahead, and obviously you're trying to maneuver around the car in front of you, so you lose time on that. It allows everyone ahead of you or behind you to catch up or get away. So we're interested to see if they decide to just try and keep Liam reeled in for a lap or so and get him involved in those dirty battles.
Yeah, so if we can keep him reined in, because now it's not so much that it doesn't have the pace or does have the pace, because everyone's on even playing field. It's about keeping him involved and forcing him into a position where he has to attack or defend rather than driving ideally in order to prevent him from getting away. And you can see it, we're on board with Levente now, who's up in P2. He's going to have to keep an eagle eye on Liam, as he is going to have control of the race. And when we restart, is he going to go for an early set off, like coming out of club, or is he going to wait until right at the end, just before the line, before we get to full race speed?
Yeah, it'd be interesting what he does, but Levante is right up his backside at the moment. He doesn't want to let him go, but Liam has taken it early here. He's going. He's just trying to psych Levante out a little bit here, make him think what he's going to do. Smart strategy from Liam. He doesn't want to show his hand too early to Levante. And here we go again, the race underway. Again, basically was coming across the start-finish line, and, well, Liam already streaking away here, trying to get that advantage, but Levante right on his backside. Everyone else here, it does seem like they're trying to keep Liam in check this time for at least a lap or two.
Yeah, they're keeping a strong eye. Freedom is going to be one who's going to be chasing and moving up with the opportunity. So he's going to be getting a move done on Paddock-Kenny coming out of the first couple of corners. And he's going to be getting a really good getaway from all of this. He's got to get some time under his belt, and he's got to do it fast. Because I know, after that pole, to finish anywhere less than the podium, he's not going to accept that. He's going to have to push, and push like hell.
Really is. He's already in the back here of Midi. He's really trying to get himself right back in this race, but it does seem like Levante is keeping up with Liam this time here. So another battle. Drippin now obviously fighting Ghost there, because Drippin's dropped back a bit, so obviously him and Ghost are having a battle in for that P3 right now, but Levante is not letting go of Liam. Liam is trying to streak away, but he is making time, but it's only tenths of a second or hundredths of a second at a time, and that is, it will add up eventually, but if Levante can just keep him in control, he's got a chance to keep pressure on him and hopefully make him make a mistake.
Yeah, he's going to have to force him into a mistake, and that is the power of pressure when you're racing against other drivers. It's not so much exuding hard power and saying, right, I am faster than you, move out of my way. It's what we call soft power in other circles, as a means to gently influence. Liam's going to get the fastest lap. Paddock-Kenny's going to head into the pits, maybe for some damage. I can only assume. But you can see Levante is going to be dropping away, but if he was staying behind Liam and staying within a few tenths, he could exude that quote-unquote soft power and gently, subtly influence him to drive that little bit harder, that little bit faster, sometimes when he shouldn't do, and that's what causes the mistakes.
Yeah, he's struggling. Liam is doing so well at the moment, and that's what we love to see. Liam just controlling this race, and it's what he's done the whole circuit so far. He's controlled every race from the start, pretty much. It's the first time he was on podium, but within 3 corners, he was already ahead. On for another Grand Slam, finishing every lap in first. So, can he do that though, or is it going to be a mistake? He's not pulling away as much. Levante is getting a bit of time on him, staying about that 1.9. So, you never know what can happen. It could come down to strategy. Pushing him wide there. Freedom pushed a bit wide there a Mini, but he does get around. Luckily, he didn't exceed the track limit, so he'll be okay to keep that position for now. But Freedom on the charge.
Yeah, he's definitely on the charge. He's got to really keep his wits about him, though. As we saw there, he's willing to take those riskier moves, those riskier plays in order to get what he needs done. Just got to make sure he's not too overzealous with it. And I'm noticing, as I say, a little bit of lag on the stream. Apologies, there's no changes in the settings, so I assume some graphical update has made it a little bit harder for my end, and we're going to have to research into that following the race.
It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But we're in the lap 12 now, so we're almost the halfway point here. And Liam is just starting to pull away from Levante, but Levante as well has pulled away from Drippin, so he'll be delighted with that. Drippin in a bit of a battle with Ghost for P4, and the Freedom will love that, because he can get involved then and maybe sneak that 3rd place in the podium.
Yeah, he's just got to bide his time a little bit. Don't be too aggressive, because he knows he's now in the territory of drivers that are going to give him a real hard time, give him a real hard challenge. You're going to see he's going to be looking around, and Ghost is already playing the defensive. He weaves inside before returning to the racing line, and that's a statement to say, I'm going to defend against you. I'm not going to make this easy goings.
He's not, but he's gone a bit wide in that turn. That's going to give Freedom the inside track here as well. And Freedom will take the position for now, but it's still a race. Ghost is still fighting back. He's not giving the position easily, but Freedom does stick the move, and he's in P4 now. He was in P9 at one stage. He's now P4.
And he's done a very good job in retaining that spot. You can see Ghost was aiming and looking for that opportunity around the inside, then the outside, but he just couldn't do it. He knew he couldn't make it, and he couldn't commit to it fully without someone getting into a little bit of trouble. We saw CG as well, who lost the car, bringing out the yellow briefly in Sector 2, and he's not going to be getting much favors from the rest of the field. But you can see Freedom is now on Drippin. He's not done yet. He wants that podium, and he wants it this lap as the cars briefly come together. A little bit coming to blows, a little bit of a slide coming out of Freedom there. He's just going to keep it together, however, but now he's once again in the position of defense as Ghost is going to try and take advantage.
Yeah, Freedom does very well to recover there. Obviously, a bit of contact, and that may be looked at as well because it was a very aggressive and Freedom on Drippin, but Drippin does keep the position. And CG, again, another penalty for him. He'll this time with 3 seconds for multiple warnings, most likely going exceeding track limits. So, unfortunate for him, he's already struggling. But he will, for now, he's still in P9 provisionally for now, so he won't mind too much. But a good battle here for P3 between 3 cars. And, you know, Levante here is keeping Liam in check. The gap was one stage 2.4, it's now 1.9. So Levante biting into a little bit of the lead of Liam.
Yeah, it's biting in and slowly reining in. But there's also the issue, as you can see, Freedom is going to be drag racing with Drippin to try and get it done. They're going to be side by side. That's a big snap from Freedom, but once again catches it. So, of course, rough situation to be in there, but good job. Good on him for catching it and keeping the car together. That is certainly taking some skill and some real commitment there in order to keep it all in line.
Definitely, especially on a wet track as well, it's even more difficult to do that. So the fact he managed to recover not once but twice, and the second time looked way more difficult, he looked way more out of control, but he managed to snap that car back in position. Had to go off the tracks, but he never lost position, so he's allowed to come back on the track and claim his P4 again. So that was okay, perfectly legal. But for now, he's fine. Right in Drippin's rearview mirror again. Drippin must be thinking, how many mistakes can you make and how do you keep coming back at me? This is impossible. Leave me alone at this stage.
Yeah, so at this point, it's like, look, I don't want any trouble anymore. Just let me be. And drivers do get like that. After a few laps of battling, they kind of just let the patience wear thin. They decide, right, enough's enough. Either you're going to back off, or if we come to blows, I'm not going to be so nice. And it happens all too often. That's why with repeated battles between a couple of drivers, usually after the second or third incident, second or third instance, there's some kind of incident.
Yeah, and just to comment the battle at the top there, Levante in 3 laps now has taken 0.8 of a second off of Liam Craig's lead. So he is biting into that lead slowly but surely. It's now 1.5. Liam is making some mistakes clearly because that was 1.8 just a few seconds ago, and now it's 1.5. So you know, delighted. Obviously, Levante will be delighted here. Is he putting that soft power on even from that far back on Liam, just keeping his rearview mirror, keeping the idea in Liam's head that he's still in a battle.
Yeah, and he knows, or Liam knows, that he's not out of the woods yet. And I think that's the crucial thing here that Levante is doing so well by keeping that proximity. Even if it's not within a second, it's Liam then understanding that he cannot rest on his laurels. He's still having to push, he's still having to drive and do a real good job of that driving. You get a little bit more trading further down because Freedom's now made his way into the podium spots. He's up in P3, but now the real challenge lies ahead. 11 laps, 9 seconds. Is he going to be able to make it, or is he going to be stuck in no man's land for the rest of the race? That is the question.
It's essentially 6 seconds, obviously, with the penalty Levante has, so it's a 6-second gap really, and obviously that's another thing for Levante. If he does get by Liam, he'll have to make 3 seconds, or hope Liam gets a penalty. So it's Liam's definitely, even goes behind, it's not the end of the world for him, but he would love to stay all the way out for all 26, lead every lap at the end of it, all 26 of them. That'd be his goal, to get the Grand Slam for this race.
Yep, that is anyone's goal, and with Liam specifically, he has shown such a domineering performance in all of this that to get anything less than the Grand Slam will be outside of his current expectations. So he has managed to now draw away a plus 2 second gap from Levante. So he has certainly woken up to the fact that he could be under some pressure. He's responding very quickly to it, but is he going to keep that momentum up, or is that just a quick burst?
Yeah, it's definitely all over the fail right now, but he's getting up to that 2.2 now, so Levante may have an issue, and we're not sure. He may just made a few mistakes, because as you said, single mistake on any of these turns, you're losing half a second. That's what it's looking like. There's lost half a second, probably on a slight error in a turn, and Liam got away nicely with it.
Got away nicely is in the 2 right. So Ghost we're on board with now. We're going to keep an eye on him as he's half a second from dripping. And it looks like sometimes he's getting real close and outbreaks himself there. Nearly goes into the back of dripping. That is a real close call. But sometimes he's looking real close there, and other times like that, he's either being overzealous or losing a ton of time through a mistake.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was necessarily a mistake on Ghost part. I think Drippin just broke far too early. He take a really early braking line, and that just didn't work out for him. But it worked out in the end because Ghost obviously had to readjust and not crash into him. So that was the main thing. But CG here trying to get up the inside of Nico, and he will do so as well, the back straight. But they are still racing, but CG looking like he's going to hold the position. No, he goes very wide, and that's going to allow Nico to come back at him. He'll have the inside as well coming into the next turn. He'll hope to keep it as well. Goes right at the back, a little bit, just twitched a little bit, trying to come inside, bit of contact with the front wing and the back spoiler, but for now they're okay. But good racing there again, but very aggressive with CG.
Yeah, so CG is very aggressive. I think he might be just struggling with the wet control. Sometimes regression can be mistaken as sometimes just not having 100% control. And you see right there, it goes a little bit deep, overestimates the level of grip that he has in these conditions. And on some level, I do feel for it, because I'm not a wet person. I'm not a wet driving person. I love it dry. I love it consistent, because that's the other thing. When you get wet weather, it's not always consistent with your levels of grip across the track.
Exactly, as well. The racing line can be a bit drier than the rest of the track as well. So if you go outside the racing line at all, you're having to deal with more surface water, which makes it more difficult for the grip of the wheels, and a slightest twitch and you go spinning. So the racing line would also be drier because the cars are running across it normally. Obviously the wheel temperature will evaporate the water on those areas and also displace the water to the rest of the track as well. So the racing line is obviously safe, but obviously to overtake you have to go outside the racing line. So definitely was very difficult. But CG coming again for another bite. He does a double take there, makes Nico pick his side again. So close. CG though keeps the line for now. Nico behind him, but it's a great battle going on there. And the battle's just about to dissipate a little bit, settling in now nicely. And Levante now 3 seconds behind. Liam really has just woken up a bit there and has taken a second and a half out of him in 3 laps.
Yeah, he knows that he has to give everything if he wants to confirm that win. So now, regardless of what happens, and you see Levante there with another 3 seconds to his name. So now Freedom kind of has a little bit of a position, because he's got 2.8 seconds or 2.7 now to make up to get that P2 instead of 5.8, which is going to change the dynamic somewhat. Given Levante, I think it's, unless something major happens, isn't going to be chasing and getting that P1 spot.
Yeah, and as well for Patter as well, it's really important that he keeps himself within distance there of CG and Nico. Right now he will be P7 ahead of them because they've both got 3 seconds. Patter doesn't. He's within those 3 seconds of both of them. So right now he's provisionally P7, of course, depending on if they're overturned or not. But obviously multiple warnings, most likely they won't be. But it's definitely an interesting race right now. But Freedom's got in for a pit here. He's trying to undercut everybody. He's got in for his 3rd pit stop.
Yeah, it's very interesting strat there, because he's going to be going onto slicks. He's going to be going on the slicks.
Oh.
It is a risky game, because Mini has also gone onto slicks further down the field. And you can see there DRS has been enabled. So we are officially in dry conditions to the point where race control has called it. And I was going to go all on about this dry line and keeping your tires cool by going through a little bit more surface water, but doesn't look like that's going to matter now, because we are, barring a few little visual cues, we are officially in dry running according to the stewards.
Yeah, and that's great as well. What a time to pit. He must have saw it coming. He must have seen the rain easing up a bit and thought that it was a risky strategy, but it worked out perfectly for him. He's on the dries, he's on the slicks, he's happy out, and the rain obviously he's got to clear up, especially with those driving lines. And that's the thing, he's not really in a battle anymore, so He knows, well, he's probably not going to catch anybody. Nobody's really going to catch him. So he was just making a strategy to make up that 2.5 seconds he needed to take out of Levante. And is Levante going to respond? Liam comes in for a pit now, and so does Levante. So they're in the pit. They're not giving a lot of time to Freedom, but Freedom will be happy with it anyway.
So that crucial second undercut could mean everything right now. If he can get this absolutely right, if he nails this lap here, his softs are going to be up to temp, which means that when Levante and Liam come out of the pits, those two are going to have to contend with softs that are still warming up. And if Freedom has timed this just right, which he might just about be able to, or at least make significant gains on, as everyone else is now coming in, he can leapfrog some of the field, and he can, more importantly, gain a massive amount of time onto the opponents.
Let's see, he's made half as, no, he's made more, he's made a second, he's made about a second, so that's brilliant. And obviously he's got to have a little, like 1 or 2 laps with his tires being heated up compared to the other two, so it takes 3 laps to get up to full pace. Oh, but he's twitched a little bit there. He's gone off the racing line. The slicks just caught some water, and that's going to affect him a little bit, but he's still he's within a second now here of Levante in terms of actual final placement, so it could be a great strategy from Freedom.
Yeah, well, he's up to full temp now, and the other drivers are going to be very close too. So really, you want to be aiming for about, say, 70, 75 degrees in this kind of weather, just static heat, and then that gives you the headroom for when you start piling on the grip, piling on the Gs. You're looking at 90, 100 degrees internal. But this is where that crucial crunch time comes for Freedom. He's got, with the 6 seconds of penalties of Levante, he has got less than a second to make up, and he will inherit P2. But at the same time, Levante is going to be chasing down Liam, and he's going to want that pole spot just as badly as anyone else on this track, but him in particular. And you can see how he's overdriving the car, getting a little bit twitchy, coming through and down finally through Valen Club. He's got his goal, he's got his sights set very firmly, and you can see that in his driving.
Absolutely, but it looks like we're going to battle here for P5 between Mini and Ghost. They are Red Freedom with the quickest lap of the race now. So he's got the point in the bag at the moment, a 1:33.6. Obviously, that's going to come down because as fuel burns, the cars become lighter, they become faster through the track. So that could change, but for now, Freedom will have an extra point in his pocket as well, which could be huge later on. You know, I know Liam right now is running away with first place, but there is money all the way down that list.
And everyone is giving it their absolute all. Everyone's now fully on the slick tire, so nobody is being left out to dry. Pun absolutely intended. And Ghost is going to be hot on the heels of Mini. Of course, Mini had a little bit of the undercut, so he managed to get himself up into P5, but Ghost ain't taking that lightly. You see full push, full overtake. He's going to be throwing it down the inside, and then is he going to confirm it coming through into Luffield? It looks like he is, and he's not going to be given the opportunity. There's not enough space on the inside for Mini to retaliate.
That's a brilliant overtake. That's a brilliant maneuver from him. Just went out the outside of that inside corner and then had the inside line then. Straight in the racing line as well. It's even better because with those slicks, obviously, you want to be keeping on as much of the dry track as you can. Of course, you see the track is drying very quickly, obviously, but those racing lines are still going to be the driest part of the course. So, you know, really important he got in that very quickly. So really good maneuver, really good overtake. And now he's just starting to stretch away a little bit. But of course, DRS is in, and Liam Gray takes back the fastest lap in a 1:33.1, basically. Just 2,000 a second off the 33.1. And Freedom is retaking it, going sub 1:33. So a good battle for the fastest lap going now as well between Liam and Freedom.
Yeah, Liam and Freedom, these two are going to come to blows for the rest of the season. I'm already reading it. These two are looking to be the guys to beat and the guys to keep an eye on as we go through this. Of course, I say Freedom came in from the last season as well and proved themselves to be one of the fastest drivers that we experienced in the series. And they're looking to keep that mantle as we come through. And with the final few laps here at Silverstone, it's overcast, but the track is drying up, and drivers are really committing to the full slick setup. Everyone went for softs, interestingly, so the undercut drivers are going to experience a little bit of fall off, which might affect their late game.
For sure. But you know, it's probably the best thing to do, especially with Freedom's eyes. You know, just get that little bit of time extra and then try and manage the car for the rest of it. Because right now he's provisional P2, obviously with the penalties. He's provisional P2 by 1.1 seconds essentially. As Silver Sword, they're a bit of an issue. Silent Sword, a bit of an issue. Not quite sure what happened there, but caution flag taken off almost immediately. So no big issue. I'm not quite sure what happened, but he's going to drop down a bit more now as well. Maybe in the range of CG. No, it's not in the range of CG. Kenny have to take the lead over. As Levante now with the fastest lap. The three lads are swapping it between them happily. But Freedom takes it back immediately. And he's actually 0.6 quicker than his last lap.
It's really pushing the boundaries here. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. We look at the fast lap for a split second. You can see 32.2 from Freedom, 32.4 from Levante, and 33 flat from Liam, which you know he's going to be improving. And then even then, Drippin, 33.3, and Ghost, 33.4. So nobody is resting on their laurels. Everyone's putting everything on the line, and that's the way it should be. Your drivers, your racers, you throw it out where it matters. You put it all down on the track and let the racing speak for itself, and that's exactly what's happening here, as Freedom is now coming up to that 4-second and crucial 3-second gap.
Yeah, absolutely. He's getting himself into position to get that spot. Of course, Levante with 2 penalties, it has to be noted. Oh, he's got the track though. Is that going to cost him? We'll find out in a minute, but that could cost him a penalty. We'll see in a second, but for now he looks okay. He's taking that S-curve beautifully. Look at that. It's absolutely fantastic. And he's finding his gap here. Just really hitting the corners and those apexes. Absolutely perfect at the moment, Sappy.
Absolutely beautifully. I'm also paying attention to the ERS of these guys because it looks like they burnt most of the reserves, and a little bit of advanced driving is coming in. So you can see Liam, he actually kicks the handbrake or like the clutch a little bit in order to get the rear rotated around. Lesser known strategy, and its usefulness is questioned sometimes in the community, but Freedom with a 31.9, no questions whatsoever about his driving abilities. He's continuing to break records. But yeah, looking at some of the cars, sometimes you see them sliding a little bit around tight corners, and that is an intended strategy, which I find very curious.
Yeah, but it can work nicely, especially when it's starting to dry, kind of in that intermediate where it's not fully dry yet, so you're not going to have a chance to be twitching too much, but it does allow the car to kick around, take that corner a bit more speed, less braking time, less braking power needed, so you can also save the ERS a little bit as well. Ooh, well, Mini did not take that corner there well at all, came out sideways, managed to correct it nicely in the end, but for Sword right now here, we're in a bit of a scrap in terms of like the racing itself. The racing seems to be, in terms of like the battles on the circuit course, seem to be pretty much done, but the battle for the fastest lap is still raging massively between everybody.
Yeah, and you got really 3 main contenders that we're keeping our eye on. You've got Freedom, who continues to break those records. You got Levante in the middle, who is just trying to get by and find that balance with his own strategy, and then Liam up at the front. We're going to see, is he going to get an improvement here on his lap? Because of course he does want that fastest lap point. He wants that Grand Slam just as much as anyone else. And again, you see that rearward slide coming through Vale and into Club. A little bit of twitchiness, but it is going to be a 0.938 from him. And Levante 31.4. So you see that fastest lap is just dropping like a stone in a river.
It really is. The fuel is really starting to burn now as well, because obviously they haven't got the DRS anymore, and the DRS isn't really a thing for anybody at the moment, so the fuel is going to burn a little bit quicker as well as I try to push those fastest laps. But Freedom can't respond this time, but he's done a good sector 1 here, and he's taking those beautifully, hitting that apex absolutely at optimal speed and optimal angle, really making it difficult here. But Levante right now has that extra point in the bag. And right now, but can he hold on to P2? That's the question. Because obviously he's got those penalties, and Freedom has none as of yet. Obviously it could change, but no, it's still up in the air in terms of who gets P2. But I think the podium's pretty settled at this stage. It's going to be Gray most likely taking P1, and then between Levante and Freedom for P2, neither will get P3.
Well, if I was any of these guys and I was looking for that fastest lap fight, I would wait and save my battery for a lap and then push it all on the last. Lesser known fact about the game, as I think Liam is finding out, once you go below 10%, your engine actually starts, or your power unit starts to lose power. It's a lesser known thing that sometimes drivers forget, but you see that gauge goes slightly red when you're in 10%. That's because you're technically losing overall power. You're trying to recover that energy where it needs to be replenished ASAP for other components in the car. But you can see the fuel is burning and the grip is rising as Freedom now 30.449. This grip is astounding, and you're really seeing the track drying up in real time. The level of influence it's having on the grip and on the speed of these cars. But yeah, if I was any of these drivers, I would save my battery for a lap and then go all in with 30-40% on the final, really hammer that fastest lap point home.
Yeah, it'd be the best idea, right? But the funny thing is, they're just like set the fastest lap Liam, fastest lap Avante, and fastest lap Freedom, just constantly flashing up on the board. They are fighting hard for that extra point. The thing is, Liam doesn't really need it, but he still wants it, and that's what I love to see. You know, he knows he's drifting around the corner there from Freedom, so he won't be getting a fast lap this time, most likely. But they are pushing hard for that fast lap, all three of them. It's great racing between them. I know it's not an actual battle on the track, but it is a battle in their minds right now.
Yeah, so a battle of mind games. And the other thing with Silverstone, there's not many opportunities you can recharge the battery. So you've got to be especially careful because, of course, it's recharged under braking. But a lot of this track is about lifting rather than braking. And you do get a little bit of natural regen, but it's not enough. So you can see here, he's been hovering around 10% for the majority of this lap. And here we go, final lap. This is where it all comes in handy, where it all comes to blows. And say Liam coming through 30.6 here is going to improve on his personal, but it isn't going to be enough to set a new benchmark. Nobody's setting a new benchmark, but of course keep an eye on him in the last lap as the leader of the race. And besides everything to do with the fastest lap battle, once again Liam has proved that he can just hold his own. He can get a gap on the field and he can keep it.
And indeed, and you know, it's been a fantastic battle to watch. Obviously, Freedom tried to undercut, it almost worked for him. It may have worked to get P2, but Liam has been supreme again. You know, again, P2 coming into the Freedom took that from the very start, but then right at the end, Freedom was taking P1 qualifying, but since then, Liam within 3 turns had the lead. He's had the lead at the end of every lap so far. He'll have the lead at the end of this lap as well. No penalties. I don't think he's going to give himself one on purpose this time because the gap is so short, even though Levante does have those 2 penalties in the bag. But it's been a fantastic race again from Liam, and we're just going to watch him come through here. And what a race from him. And he's going to make a 3 from 3 now in the Irish Esports Collegiate Series powered by NATO's F123 circuit.
And as we come through to the end of that third round, got to say all the drivers here have done amazingly. Key shout outs are of course going to be our top runners of Kenny, who came with no experience and no chance to quali, yet still seems to be finishing P7, so a really good result with no real practice. Great stuff to hear. But of course, to say you come through across the line, it is going to be a 29.9 from Liam, and that is going to be fastest lap. Levante with another fastest lap, and Freedom going to be coming in fastest lap again, and that is your top 3 with Levante being dropped down to P3 following penalties. Your podium is set. Liam in P1, Freedom P2, Levante P3, and then the rest of the drivers about to follow suit. What a race that was.
It was fantastic. Some great battles at the start, kind of about the 16 lap mark. It all kind of died away in terms of the on-field battles, but the battle for the last 6 laps, that battle for the fastest lap was fantastic to watch. All giving it their all, trying their best. At the end, again, all 3 setting a fastest time, but Freedom ultimately coming out on top and setting the fastest time of the race. Kenny as well, he's done very well. He'll be coming across in P7. He's managed to stay out of the battle. Silent Sword, who had a good start, was obviously the pace setter qualifying for a while, just fell away a lot, and then CG and Nico, who both have penalties each, so I'm not sure how I'm not sure if they got 2 or 1. I think one of them might have 2, the other might have 1, so I'm interested to see what happens here at the end, because they're very close to each other. But fantastic race indeed, and that is it. But Liam Craig again, he's made it 3 from 3, 77 points from 78, so well done to him.
And wow is all I can really say. What a run from all of them, and in particular from our top 3. A great showing from the lot of them, and as you come to the podium, you can see them all pushing up on the podium, trophies in hand, and then coming through to the final standings. You can see Liam from a P2 in quali to the P1 in the race. To say not that Grand Slam he was looking for, but still did a great job. The one to look at, I'd say, is Freedom with the fastest lap and the pole in quali. Only finishes P2, but that's only just because Liam had such a solid race. It could not be touched. Levente P3, Drippin P4, Ghost P5, Mini P6, Padakani in P7, Silent Sword P8, CG, Nico, and Lemon in the bottom 3 spots, with Lemon DNFing. And looking into it further, it looks like they DNF'd by hitting the division between the pit wall and the track up at Vale. They were trying to pit and they didn't go far enough, it seems.
That is so unfortunate. That's such an awful way to go out. It's such an error. You know, it's one of those that you have to put your hands up. But like, look, that's on me. It happens. But great race. So many good battles.
Some absolutely amazing stuff. I couldn't agree more. They were really good out there today. Who would you vote as your, say, like, proverbial driver of the day, my friend? Oh, I think we've lost him. Yep, looks like we lost him. Unfortunately, internet went out, but I say, as far as timings go for the internet to go out, I think that's not too bad. So, of course, that is the race there. I mean, my personal driver of the day was Freedom, because he came in, he got that surprise pole, and then he got the win in terms of the fastest lap battle, which was really exciting to see. Are you back, my friend?
I am, yeah. I was going to say as well, Freedom was obviously had that front wing issue as well near the start of the race. He still came back to P2. You know, he was down the bottom of the pack basically, and he came back to P2. So that was fantastic. So yeah, right race driver of the day for him as well, definitely. Fast lap and then coming back to get P2 as well in the end.
Absolutely amazing job. From all the drivers, in particular our top runners, as we say. And that is going to leave the standings in a very interesting place. Of course, this is the standings as of round 2, but we're going to see Freedom take a big promotion in points. Say Minikine is going to take a few points home as well. A little bit of a jump on Ghost. We might see him jump into P3 in the standings, but eyes on Freedom as he seems to be making quite the surge up into the higher spots. Drippin as well with a very good performance, and then some who aren't on this board but are in the standings. We're going to see them make some big moves, but this is where we step off of Mr. Narratives' wild ride, as they say. So next week, because of the transitioned calendar of the slightly adjusted calendar, it is next week going to be at Spa, which is going to be, of course, an amazing track. And you are going to be joined by Marky and Rando in the commentary box. So I'm looking forward to watching you guys in the box. But how do you feel about Spa?
I said at the start, I said it before we go to Rando, Spa is what I was looking forward to most. I love Spa. It's such a great circuit. It's a great place for racing. It demands every single aspect out of every driver. The car setup's really important as well, so I think that's an important race, but I am really looking forward to Spa. It's gonna be really good.
Yeah, so that is going to be a heck of a race, and of course you'll get a bit more detailed of a look at it next time and next week out, because it is a piece of racing history and absolutely deserves its place on the calendar. Fun fact to say, 7.004 miles or kilometers after they reprofiled the bus stop chicane, so 4 meters above the legal grade 1 limit, and it was 4 meters below it before they remodeled the chicane. So they've gone from one extreme to the other. But of course, we are going to say goodbye for now. Been absolutely amazing. So Morky, absolute legend. Thank you for being in the box with me. And you'll see him and Rando next week out in Spa. But take it easy, everyone in the chat. Thank you for coming along, and we will see you very soon, of course. Follow the channel if you like what we're doing here. Check out some of our other games. We've got great series in other titles as well you want to check out. F1 Fridays is some fun respite, but we've got some major teams and some major competitions heading your way soon.